Where we're going to start with this is with our settlement concept page. If we're going completely random, you can draw inspiration from the player's handbook on page 68 with the Druid Circle spells, and you'll find a redundant list for rangers. So these are 8 biomes that are commonly existing in D&D. Now they could take a lot of blended forms and whatnot, but what I like doing is rolling randomly for 2. What is going to be interesting here, and I'm willing to replace a random roll, is if we have information particular to the player characters, and we very well may. And we actually have 3 terrain types, right? We have Carolandra here, who's an urchin, and so an urban environment isn't up there, but we know that a city of some kind, a big city, exists in the area, and so we're going to want to keep that in mind. Orange Vanille's not bad. Had to buy one and try it. Yeah, it's extremely decent. It is a little on the sweet side. I mean, I don't think I could chug a ton of them. I mean, it'd be like having... I like Cherry Coke Zero also. Or Cherry Coke. But Cherry has a heavy flavor. And so if I drink too much of it, even without the syrup and the sugar, it just it feels kind of heavy. And so you have a really nice flavor with the orange vanilla. But I don't think I could slam these down. You know, if you go for like a regular Diet Coke, that's a little bit lighter and crisper. That's just more, I don't know. You could drink a couple of those. But that's more something maybe to savor. It's a nice dessert diet. I'm glad you got to try it, though. So we have this city, right? The city of that Carolandra is an urchin within. Now we have 2 rangers in our party, well, at least partially, right? We have Ibayak, and he has the primeval, not the awareness, the what did I roll for the? Oh, it's down here. Coast. So he is a natural explorer along the coasts. And our other ranger splash here is Melry, or Granny Melry. And she had a splash of forest. And so we know that the region, at least, is going to feature a city, probably a coastal city, and there's going to be a forest nearby. Sorry, 1 second, my headphones need charged. There we go. So what I think we can do is fill in here that we have coast. There we go. Coast and forest. If we did want to challenge ourselves and randomize something and say that perhaps one of them, as as Melry maybe lived elsewhere in the region and not in the main city, right? Because her family was rich, or she comes from nobles, so they held an estate perhaps elsewhere in the region. We could go and say that if there is a coastal area, and we'll even go a coast with a city, we can say that the other part of the region is something with a forest. And this will allow us to interject at least a little bit of random prompting to figure out what's going on. So let's roll a d8 and see what happens. Like, what's the worst, right? We roll a 3, desert. All right, so this might imply that we have a coastal desert with a big city. And something like that is Lima, Peru, if you want a reference. As for a forest in the desert, that could very well be something like a gigantic oasis, or it could even be, what if there's something like some petrified trees or something? Does it count? You know, it's hunting in a different territory. There might be like scrub grass instead of lush, you know, underfoot grass and mushrooms and deer and everything that we might classically attribute. But by doing this, now we have a very cool, dynamic playground from which our characters could derive their existence, right? They grew up, they learned skills, they traveled, and there's something for them all to consider. Now let's go to our DMGs, and on page 16, we can find, I guess it's one more page, we can come up with, I'm going to have to fix this apparently, it's on 18. What kind of a government rules over the region, and maybe even from the city? Like the city is the seat of power in this state, in this barony, in this whatever it'll end up being. So down here, let's roll a percentile die for forms of government. Whoops, I accidentally hit it twice apparently. So our first result, so we'll save this D100 for something if we need it later on. Our first D100 roll was a 70. That is going to be a monarchy. Monarchy, a single hereditary sovereign wears the crown. Unlike the autocrat, the monarch's powers are limited by law, and the ruler serves as the head of a democracy, feudal state, or militocracy. The Kingdom of Brayland in the Eberron campaign setting has both a parliament that makes laws and a monarch who enforces them. So in this case, we might even be able to even roll again if we wish, or we could just have it be our own form of a monarchy. I'm fine just continuing as it is. Now in our worksheet, as we're continuing to build the culture and the environment for this area, let's go to page 108 in Mapping a Wilderness. This is completely arbitrary, but I enjoy knowing, how about a normal forest but all the pine trees get replaced by giant cactuses? We can do that, Civil. You know what? We actually did something similar where it was a forest of mushrooms. So yeah, it could even be a desert, and then the forest is a forest of succulents, like just giant succulents, and which can have a bunch of lore associated with it, right? What are the out in the Yucca Desert? There's the are they the Jericho trees? The ones that are said to move at night? It's kind of like a weird haunted thing. Civil, that's not a bad idea. So we can even put forest, something like cacti, cactuses, or other giant succulents. Joshua trees, that's the one. Thank you, Roger. Thank you. Yeah, the Joshua trees are the ones that have the legend that they move at night. And if you've seen it too, speaking of similar things, there's the desert where rocks are said to move on their own, and you can see the sand trail left behind them. So anyway, this is my preference. You could change it if you'd like. I like every region to have at least 3 things that are notable. Whether it's a city, a county, a state, a country, a continent, whatever. There should always be, like, what are the 3 major things? And so the Dungeon Master's Guide offers things like monuments and something like a weird locale. Through my own arbitrary means, I want to roll for 2 monuments and 1 weird locale. And that will be... Those will be defining features of our area. This is going to be a D20 roll. So our first monument is going to be number 6. An intact obelisk etched with a warning, historical lore, dedication, or religious iconography. Intact obelisk etched with a 1, 2... I'm going to roll a D4. What's option number 3? Warning, historical lore, or a dedication. With a dedication. To what? That's up for us to determine. We're just getting our prompts now. And our second item is an 8. A ruined or toppled obelisk. A ruined or toppled obelisk. Our weird locale is right on the next page. We're also going to roll a D20 for this. We got a 9 as a result, which is going to be a permanent portal to another plane of existence. Ooh. A place where the barrier is thin. Of liminality. Next up, we're going to jump a little bit ahead to page 112. And this is going to give us some settlement information. We can come up with the dominant race, the minority race, race relations, ruler status, all of this. Now, this is probably going to be... you know, the city can very well be metropolitan, especially if it's on a coast. And so, you know, if we had like 3 gnomes and 2 halflings up here, we might say, all right, it's probably a stronger argument that one or both of these are going to be the dominant and the minority of them. And you don't have to just stick with 2. Again, what are the 2 major? There's a major dominant race. You know, even if it's, like 40, 20, 20, 20. So there's actually 4 major races, or it's like 40, 25, 20, 20, 15 or something, right? Like we're getting an idea of what the large population is, and then what's the second largest. Well, we have 2 Dragonborn. We have a Lightfoot halfling, a tiefling. We have a cat on the miniatures. He's blessing them, everyone. This is the time to strike. Get your minis now, while it's under the effects of the cat's paw. And a rock gnome. So we have some shorties, we have a tiefling, and we have 2 dragonborn. I would be willing to consider the dragonborn, if it doesn't come up in a dice roll, being one or the other, the dominant or the minority race that's here, and then we can leave the other one, kind of like what we did for our biomes that exist in the area. We can leave one to chance. And the others are here because, you know, they live here. You know, the gnome comes from Gnome Town. You know, the halfling kind of lives on the outskirts in the suburbs or something along those lines. It's an urban environment that can attract a lot of people. So I'm not too worried about the city being representative of the region as a whole. Hey, Doomfish, welcome back. What do I have available? Diadems, I have 4 boxes of Monster Menagerie. Oh, it's a double blessing, everyone. I have 4 boxes of Monster Menagerie 2, which my distributor just randomly had 4 boxes. So at some point in time, they cut a brick in half and is like, all right, well, we have this. So I have 4 keep moving. Hey, come on, fluff butt. Hey. 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 You're not getting... Oh my gosh. Are you just going to lay down on those? Apparently nothing is available right now, Diadems. My cat has said that the shop is closed. There are no more. There are no more minis. I have 3 Tomb of Annihilations. I have 3 Dragon Heists. I have 3 Storm King's Thunders, but then I have a sealed brick of it waiting to go. And I have 24 Mad Mages, and the 2 that should be visible in the box that my cat is now sitting in are box number 1 and 2 from a freshly cracked brick of Dungeon of the Mad Mage. That Doom, I would protect it with my life. Yeah, hey, fun. Oh, there we go. Oh, nope. All right, are we... Is it possible to be more uncomfortable? He's rubbing on the webcam right now. When your cat is a D&D nerd and hates losing its things. Yeah, you should see when I set these things out to do a physical inventory count, he wants to like lay on all the figures. Oh, Doomfish, the cat's name is Raichi. And Raichi was brought to my store as a kitten who followed one of my customers when he was walking downtown to the store. Came in and he said, hey, Matt, this cat followed me. What do we do? And so I said, well, I'll tell you what. We'll keep it here at the store. I have a back room. We can kind of lock it away so there's not an allergen issue. You know, I had cats at home, so I just bring it some food in a little litter dish or a pan. And so I kept it there, and I put an ad out in the paper. And someone called like a day later claiming that the kitten was hers. Now, you know, when you do Lost and Found, you're careful. You say, all right, can you describe it to me? And she gave a general description of the cat, but I mean, how many tabbies are out there? And in the conversation, I asked, is the cat you lost neutered? And she said, no, I would never neuter my cat. And I'm like, all right, lady. Well, you're not getting this cat, because then not only are you irresponsible and you lost like a 4-week-old kitten, but so not only can a kitten escape you, you're never going to neuter it, and it can go outside and escape you. I didn't tell her this. But needless to say that I gave this cat a good home, and he is well fed and happy, and while he never does go outside, he has been neutered. He hasn't been declawed, though. We have scratching posts for that. Now I am the Dungeon Master. Yep, and so he was just a poor little kitten, followed one of my customers in my store, and gave him a home since then. Diadems, he is ultra thick. He is 3 C's thick. This is a big cat. He's like 16, 17 pounds, and he's not even like a chonky, like a fat cat. He's just he's a thick boy. Yes. Yeah, Raichi. Funny you have it. And he has this beautiful sandy color mixed in with his tab. And he is now just settled. He is fully settled on the minis. I'm going to take a picture and put it on our Discord, so you all can fully appreciate what's happening right now. Hey, bud. Oh, we spend plenty of time together. We're thick as thieves. But anyway, so Diadems, that's the inventory. Oh yeah, Doomfish. I love it. I like it. I love it. I want some more of it. We have 2 cats after we had to put one down last year in May. So it's coming up to our first anniversary of not having Miss Sophie. Which, if any of you have been around on the stream when I first started last year, you would have had the opportunity to meet Miss Sophie, who is absolutely just a wonderful like big sis kind of cat. Especially to my young derpy Tabby here, and my very sporty tortoiseshell that I adopted from the Humane Society. Which I've brought it up before, but I do donate materials and money to the local Humane Society. Including, I'm sorry for the side story, but real quick since we're talking about it, and backstories and characters and whatever. There was a cat there, a tabby named Beaver, and he was born with one eye. And so when someone turned him in, so it wasn't injury, it wasn't gruesome looking or whatever. It's just like the eye never fully developed or whatever. So it wasn't gross. It's just he only had one eye. He was very friendly. And when I was considering adopting, I thought about adopting Beaver. Now I ended up getting the little tabby that I did because she was the runt of the litter. And since at the time we had him, who was a couple years younger, and then we had our old matron, Miss Sophie, I wanted to go for a very young kitten. And so I said, well, I still want kind of a disadvantaged cat. And so we took the runt of that litter, who is Miss Nisa, that you see kind of running around, or she's the tortoiseshell that's on the back of the chair time and again. But what I did at the Humane Society is I sat down and I said, all right, I want to pay the adoption fee for Beaver. And what I would like to do is I want this to, for as much as it can be passed on and passed forward. I want to make sure that if there are other disadvantaged cats in the shelter, it's a no-kill shelter, but still, some are harder than others to adopt out. I want to make sure that maybe this can pass forward. And so I put the $75 adoption fee down on Beaver, but I didn't adopt him. Well, about a month or so later, I'm contacted by the shelter, and they didn't provide details, just say for the incident, and said that a lady had come in and had adopted Beaver. Now, they didn't tell her because it shouldn't influence the choice. Oh, well, I'm just going to get a cheap cat or a free cat. And so they didn't tell her that I had done this. And so she wanted Beaver, the one-eyed cat. She went through all the background check and everything else. And when she went to go process it, they told her that the adoption fee was already taken care of. The lady was so moved that she still paid the adoption fee in order to pay it forward to the discretion of the shelter to pass it on to another disadvantaged cat. And so Beaver got adopted, and this goodwill was passed forward so that another kitty could find a good home that might have had trouble doing so otherwise. No, Delcorin, it was May. And it was just a year or two prior that we had to put down Bagheera in May. So May is a little bit of a morbid month for me, having to put cats to sleep. Fortunately, Raichi and Nisa are in very good health. So I don't foresee me having to do anything like that this May or in many Mays to come. Sister's a one-eyed puppy. She's a Futurama fan, so named a dog Leela. Oh, that's nice, Civil. Have you ever made a character sheet for Raichi? I haven't, Funny Dill, but I am grateful to Macabre Derek because after I had to put Miss Sophie to sleep, we ended up making a Tabaxi character that we randomly rolled, sort of in tribute, and Derek illustrated her for me. And that was very kind of him to do. And Miss Sophie ended up randomly rolling, by the way, an epic level, a 20th level paladin of devotion, if I'm recalling correctly. And when I'm sitting there and the random rolls come up, that this cat you love that you had to put to sleep is Truly epic. And she watches over you, and she protects you. Sorry, I'm getting a little misty now. Jeez. I love you, Raichi. There we go. Let's fight the tears back, buddy. Huh? But I have her ashes and Bagheera's ashes on the mantle. Along with a little memory of each of them. So... Anyway, where were we? Before I started getting all misty. Oh, jeez. Oh, Ivalon, also thank you. Here. All the love for everyone. Thank you so much. Yep, back to our jobs, Doomfish. Back to our jobs. Come on. There's no time for conversation or feeling. We have D&D to play, and whether we like it or not, we're still going to play it. Yeah, let's get this sob story out of here. Well, what am I doing? My Oath of Vengeance Paladin I'm playing in Katie Sue's game is a very precious spot right now. Or precarious. Yeah, you're saying it's tense right now, Doom. What's going on with that? You almost killed Cap's character twice tonight. Yeah, I saw he was playing 3-5. I couldn't listen in, though. Diadems, if you want to give us a heads up on what's happening. Alright, so we have this intact obelisk, a ruined or toppled obelisk, permanent portal to another plane of existence, and so here, I'm willing, because we had 2 Dragonborns, right? Of the 9 races we could have rolled, 2 of them were Dragonborns. And so, if we don't get Dragonborn, naturally, I think we could insert it in there as the majority or minority is appropriate. I'm going to roll 2d10, or I guess I'm just going to roll a d10 twice, because if we get a 10, I'll re-roll it. And then we'll see which race is the one, or is the dominant and the minority. A 4 and a 5. Ladies and gentlemen, the dice have spoken. Humans and Dragonborn. This was meant to be. Boy, if that's the case, then if we can actually make the gambler's fallacy come true, then I suggest we start making a lottery pool, and we just start eliminating numbers every drawing, everyone. What do you say? You want to start a lottery pool? Well, I'll just buy a bunch of lottery tickets, and we're gonna have to win at some point in time. Jeez. Race relations between the two. Let's roll a d20. 12. Tension or rivalry. Ruler's status, d20. We rolled a 19, a religious leader. Doom, you've only been playing D&D for a year, but it's such a fantastic game. I'm getting sucked into the mindset of this character and experiencing a new fantastic world. It's amazing. That is awesome, Doom. That's exactly what I love hearing folks experience. The dice giveth, says Evelyn. That would be dope. I love this, says Funny. He started out lawful good, as most paladins would, and because he's had to kill people, including his own undead brother, and see some horrible stuff, he's borderline evil. Oh. Nothing wrong with a gnome fighter. He probably got pranked into one too many times by the scamps. Funny Dill has called it. And Diadems is sharing his 3.5 edition story that he's currently running. They finally got into the dungeon and took a little while to find the secret door to access the rest of the dungeon. And he was walking along, didn't check for traps, and a lightning bolt trap got him. Then they brought him back to consciousness and tried to disarm the trap and set it off again. Oh no. Yep. A notable trait is going to be a D20. I don't say that in a quick transition to be like, yeah, whatever. I'm interested. I want, as you're typing, I want to produce in between reading with interest what you're posting. We rolled a 17. It has a sinister reputation. Boy, we have kind of like a Sin City thing going on, don't we? I know that's supposed to be like a Las Vegas thing. Well, I don't know. In the comics, was it a coastal city? It might have been a coastal city. Because it's supposed to be Basin City, like B-A-S-I-N. Anyway. It is known for its... Let's roll a d20. 9. Ooh, it's known for its dark magic. Jeez. And we just said... Just the other night, it was, oh, are you still in here? Are you still in here? No, Bomb is not still in here. I think it was Bomb that recommended that, the family of our character here, Melry, ran a temple or a cult to Takesis. And that's what led her to be driven from her lands. And so, you know what? The dice have spoken, have they not, everyone? This is why I love this kind of storytelling and building, and why it's not that complex to do. I hope that none of you ever feel intimidated for trying to build a story, an adventure, or a whole campaign. The current calamity going on is a 20. Well, we roll a d20. It's number 6. A plague or a famine that can spark riots. Yes, there has been cat movement. My favorite kind of trap? I don't know if I really have one. A lot of my dungeons that I've personally run have been somewhat trap light, or if they have been heavy, they've all been different, because they're all supposed to build into something. He's in a town right now and everyone is affected by some sort of magic and acting so suspiciously, and he can't figure out what's happening. At this point, he's about to break, and if killing everyone in this town would protect his family and stop the threat of the enemy, he would. A dragon cult? Something like that, yeah. He recognizes that's awful, so I think he's going to step back, stop being the face of the party, and let other people lead. It's not set in Dragonlance. I'm sorry, did I say Takesis? I meant Tiamat. Sorry, I meant Tiamat. Thank you for the correction on that, Ivalon. Yeah, same difference, right? All right, lastly, when we're creating a settlement, the town name, we can come up with something that we feel is appropriate. Sort of like as an afterthought, kind of like the name of the character after we get to know the character. But I do like including a couple cultural points. One of that is a religious building of some kind. And then, of course, we need to know the name of the best tavern in town. Now, not that that means it's the only one. This could be a city with 500,000 people living in it on the coast. But this is the place where people go. Doesn't even have to be the best bar per se. It could be a dive. But if you want information, you want fun, you want adventure, whatever, you could go there. Or maybe it's a quiet place of refinement, and you could just go and meditate, or who knows. So we're gonna find out though. So our religious building on a D20 roll is a 3, a temple to a good or neutral deity. So while it does present itself as a place that it has a good or neutral deity, there is this dark underbelly of a cult. Temple to a good or neutral deity. Our tavern style is going to be rolled on a d20. 16 caters to a specific race or guild. If that's the case, I mean, it would probably be Dragonborn, since we already know that they are an established minority, and because 2 of our players could have access to this. And I don't know, if you're allowed to bring a +1 to this exclusive club, then at any point in time, 4 of them could. And so I'm fine with this just going, you know, Dragonborn. If we really wanted to, we could say that if we didn't want it to be a race, or if we want it to be to a guild, we do have a guild member in the group. Or you know what? Not even that. If we take a look, they are all historians in some capacity. So perhaps if it's not to a guild, it caters to a specific, I don't know, it'd be like going to some posh, like, Russian tea room with, you know, chamber music in the background and conversation. It'd be kind of like the Oron High School host club kind of an environment. Maybe not as wacky. So if we didn't want to limit it there to Dragonborn, if it's not to a guild per se, it could be caters to intellectuals. How about that? Because that is everyone in the party, then regardless. Hey, Volvo, welcome. And Grimvex, good to see you again. Welcome back. Oh, the cat is gone. Oh, they're nice and warm. They've incubated. We might hatch some minis, everyone. And the name of the tavern that caters to the intellectuals of the city is, we're gonna roll 2d20 and calculate. I mean, come on, like that's a equation. 2013. The Gleaming Horde. That is going to be the watering hole of choice in this city, or at least for our players it will be. That's right, get your minis. I will include cat hair with every shipment. They don't normally, they shouldn't. I ship them, you know, allergen free. But free cat hair with every box sponsored. And of course, look, the DMG is awesome for this. If you want to populate a town, boom, here we go. Just draw a bunch of squares on a squiggle for buildings along a road, roll a d20, and there you go. Random urban encounters. The DMG is awesome for this stuff. And I definitely urge you all to consider looking into that, investing in that. A decent name for something like a lounge attached or embedded in some kind of grand library. Yeah, so it would be kind of like the... It'd be kind of like the coffee store in a that is embedded in a bookstore. Or something what I'd like to do with the game store, and that's to put in... like a small bar and eating area. So that, you know, you could come and like rent a table to play D&D, and then, you know, you all can order sandwiches or pizzas or something, or, you know, if you want some adult beverages or the like. Not a place to get drunk, but a place that you can, you know, it's like the movie theaters that serve beer, right? Not that we don't have coffee. In fact, we even have our own barista. You can see it. You can see our barista in a couple photos of the store if you've seen him before. Its name is Huggy. And if there's anyone out there who might know what I'm talking about, you're welcome to describe who Huggy, our barista, is. What channel did you post the pic of the mini guarding cat? Oh, I didn't post it up yet, Del. I'm sorry. Hang on. I'll do that right now. We're broadcasting live and fixing it in post. There we go. It's in Table Talk. kind of like the one better. Oh, did they both? I accidentally posted them both together. Hang on. Let me fix that. We'll go for that nice bright face pick. There we go. I think that's the way forward. There we go. What a good boy, huh? All right. Been finding lots of other great pics and gifs. I love the kangaroo scuffle. Well, I'm glad you're still finding treasures, though. Can I be a paladin with Raichi as my patron? I'm sure that he would be glad to have you swear an oath to him. All right, so we have our prompt. We have an idea now about what we want to build, and I'm not going to draw the map tonight. I want to continue extracting some information about our characters, because tonight here we're going to make sort of like a setup cheat sheet for the other projects to come. And now that we have our 5 PCs, and we have this spread not this spreadsheet, but this worksheet. Ooh, pardon me. We can come through and start pulling some information from our characters, our players' sheets. So we have our DM hats on right now, correct? Let's make some quick notes then. We have Brother Elias, and apparently that's the only way he's known, right? We have a chaotic neutral male rock gnome, wizard, divination 10, rogue, assassin 6, gladiator, storyteller. Fun fact. Deeply pious. He believes himself to be an agent of his faith, or at least a reincarnation of an important person from it. What else? He takes many risks to both emulate the character and build his own regional rapport. Personality trait 1. Personality trait 2. Ideal. Bond. Flaw. We'll get to that in just a second. Oh, Diadems, thank you for gifting that over to Funny, and welcome aboard, Funny. Just looked at the time, gonna head to bed. Love the stream and everyone in chat. Doomfish, thank you for the raid and the host, and I'm glad that you shared your story here. I very much appreciate it, and I'll make sure to give Raichi some extra pets for you. Okay, Doom. Oh, hey, Diadems, Funny Dill is very appreciative. That's so nice of you, man. And this Wednesday, by the way, speaking of subscriptions, this Wednesday is going to be our raffle to give away boxes of minis. And the number of boxes I give away is dependent on how many subscribers I have on the channel, since your subscriptions go into purchasing the boxes out of my inventory in order to give away and ship out to you to a domestic U.S. address for free. Outside of that, we'd have to talk. Now, you do not have to subscribe to win the raffle, or there's no waits. You don't get a 2-for-1 or something if you're a subscriber. But the number of you that subscribe, that support the channel that way, do contribute through the number of boxes that I give away every month. All right, so we have Brother Elias. We have Carolandra, either known as the Sweet or as the Noble-Hearted. Eveline. Chaotic Neutral, female tiefling. Cleric. Knowledge. 8. Paladin. Oath of Devotion. 8. Urchin. Fun fact. She was widowed. Because not all your urchins have to be, you know, scampy little orphans. In this case, we got that as a prompt, and here she was a young adult, and she had a son who was young, and there was a tragedy, and so she was an urchin because she was turned out on the streets because she lost everything and everyone in a fire. And so now we have a tiefling who's afraid of fire. We have some lurkers. Do we now? I mean, if Volvo has said something, then can we truly have any lurkers? By the way, if any of you out there that are not bots are lurking, that's perfectly fine. Is that gonna be a fun fact for her? She lost her husband and young son in a tragic fire, turning her out into the streets with nothing. Her newfound confidence, wealth, and power come from the questions she asked and the tragedies she meets and remedies with others. Kind of like a counselor. Volvo, for shame diadems, listen, these are automated messages, okay? Oh, so Volvo is in fact a bot. Despite saying totally not a bot, but that's exactly what a bot would say. It's your job to call out lurkers. After this, we have Ibayak. Yeah, we know you're back. We see ya. No, I'm back. Yeah, welcome back, Stream Hopper. No, concern it, I'm back. Ibayak, Stream Hopper. Chaotic Neutral, male, Lightfoot, halfling. Warlock. Archfey Blade. 6. Oh goodness, diadems. Thank you for that gift to Grim and to Fi as well. Fi, hey, hopefully Fi, I know you have some cute emotes with those unicorns, but I hope you find some cute uses for the one that you have there. Lightfoot Halfling Warlock Archfey Blade 6. Ranger Hunter 5. Monk Way of the Four Elements 5. Merchant. We condense it to scribe, but things like books, scrolls, etc. Fun fact. He is very lucky. In fact, we gave him the lucky feat despite me... I think he's the first character I've given the lucky feat to. Not because I don't like it, but because it is so universally applicable, in my opinion. 5 cheers. And Diadems, also one to Roger. Oh, thank you, man. So for all of you who are new subscribers, courtesy of Diadems, there are some nice emotes and some fun and cheer for you. Thank you so much. And I sincerely hope that you enjoy the content we do here. And if you choose to continue that subscription, that we here are worth $5 a month. I'm not saying this to make you feel guilty that you have to. All the content we make is here regardless. But if you do support the stream, I mean, you're going to, that's going back through the raffle. But it is also a vote of confidence that you are investing in a person, a channel, and a community that will continually grow, that will continually entertain you, and give you a good experience. It means a lot to me. You know, if you came into my store and gave me your business, it means a lot to me there too. You could buy Magic cards or whatever. You could buy D&D books online, probably for cheaper than what I sell it through my store. And yet you would choose to come in and do business with me. And that's because of the community, the environment, the you know, all of the things that you can't get through a simple online purchase. And so that's what that $5 goes to support. There will be more emotes, by the way, coming up too. So that's a fun little kind of a continuing receipt on that transaction. But that's how I take things like the bit donations and the subscriptions. Woof, thank you very much for that follow. I hope that you've been enjoying your time here. Thank you for finding us, clicking on us, and spending time. All right, so Ibayek. Fun fact. I am the, or I guess in this case it'd be, he is the oldest known living halfling, owing to his incredible luck all through his life. He has learned to sail along the coast and has made many contacts by way of his ship named the Wild Child, I think is what... Was that Ivalon? Ivalon, did you throw out the Wild Child as the name suggestion? Oh, yeah. Run, follow me if you want to live, and you did. But yes, welcome aboard, Wuff Babe. Wuff Babe Ame. Is that Rain, or is that Ame for something else? In Ivalon, it wasn't you. I think someone recommended the Wild Child as the name for his little sailing vessel that he goes up and down the coast on. All right, so we'll fill in the ideal bond and flaw. Then we have Granny Melry. For any of you who are just joining us, welcome. We have randomly generated 5 characters. We've given them personalities, decisions, agency in this world that we're making up. And we're now going to take information from their character sheet, distill it into a document that we are going to use to begin to flesh out the world, to make a map of the city and the region, to make NPCs and villains, to make a dungeon even, and to be able to provide an adventure experience for the rest of tonight. And tomorrow is our last broadcast of the week, because I usually take Sundays and Mondays off. We come back on Tuesdays to roleplay, and then Wednesday through Saturday, we're going to spend those 4 nights finishing up this as like a campaign adventure, / adventure. And so we're distilling that information right now to set up, to think, and to take notes. So we have Granny Melry. She is all 5 characters were chaotic neutral. It was interesting. Chaotic neutral, female, silver dragonborn, sorcerer, Draconic bloodline. In fact, we can even put red. Red draconic bloodline. 14. Ranger. Well, it's just Ranger. She was going to go into Hunter if that was relevant. But Ranger 2. Charlatan number 4, which was tons of disguises. Lots of disguises and identities. Fun fact. And ideal bond flaw in our personality traits. So... yeah, hey, Grime, welcome aboard. Ame, oh, it's short for amethyst. Okay. And by the way, so for those of you, if you notice, for those of you who subscribe, there are different tiers of a spicy subscription. Green, yellow, orange, red. And not only are those tiers of spice, but if you really like something like guacamole, it doesn't have to just be a salsa verde, my friends. It could be guac. At 3 months, it goes to yellow, which it could be a nacho cheese or just a slightly spicier salsa than green. At 6 months, it goes to orange, a little spicier. Could be a nice salsa con queso mix. And then finally, if you hit 12 months plus, it's the spiciest as a nice red salsa that I'll show off here as we're continuing to celebrate. There we go, a nice red salsa. And some more emotes will be applied this coming week. There's one in the works that's almost close to a good shape to be loaded up. Delcorin says no guac. Well, that's fine because you've subscribed for 3 months, and so now you're in this kind of nacho cheese phase. So, fun fact, her family was killed and routed by a group seeking to end her family's cult to Tiamat. She hopes to return and become the noble lady she always wanted to be, but was forced not to due to these meddling circumstances. And then our final character, he only has one name that was submitted, was Deke. That could be a first or a last name, so I'm open-minded if we want to add to this. But we have Deke, a chaotic neutral male shadow black dragonborn. Warlock. Oh, great old one / blade. 12. Paladin. Oath of the Ancients. 4. Sage. Scribe. Fun fact. That way we know a little bit about their personalities, right? Fun fact. He traded his health for knowledge. And in so doing, was twisted into a shadow form. He continues to study and write in an effort to learn as much as he can before his final sun has set. Right? Because he's getting older. He's middle-aged. He's 51. For Dragonborns, that's... I mean... Now, Granny here, Granny Melry, is 68. She's old. And Ibayak, like, Melry and Ibayak are... they might be on their final adventure with their age. Well, I guess we'll see. He doesn't have time for 2 names. He has research to do, says Civil Hermit. Oh, this is Melry. Melry is a very flirty granny, by the way, everyone. So I hope that... I hope that you can appreciate that. She will bat her eyelashes, such as Dragonborns have, and she'll woo your heart. If it's not, you know, like a more romantic or sexual flattery, it's like, who is it, Jim Gaffigan, who had the bit about trying to impress his grandma. Or if it wasn't was it Jim Gaffigan and he was talking about someone else, or he's making up a scene, but he's like, oh, here, Grandma, let me lift this gallon of milk for you. Oh, Nicholas, you're so strong. What's that, Grandma? You need me to move this chair? Oh, Nicholas, you're so strong. And you feel like a superhero when you're moving stuff for your grandma. Was that Dane Cook? With his health ailments, he may not outlive his older friends. That's true, Civil. Boy, if anyone was to pilot Ibeck, he is definitely not a beginner character. He has many options. So if you want a challenge, you should try playing as this character. Carolandra. The way this party turned out, I mean, through random dice rolls, you wouldn't know it was random. You'd think that we just spent, you know, months coordinating and setting stuff up to be so good. Nope. Beautiful characters, compelling characters, great backstories, great motivations. It's easy to understand the types of decisions that they'd make. All random rolls and a little bit of our imagination. Whoa, hey, Captain Milne. If it isn't my eternal rival in both Twitch and good looks. It's great seeing you. Yeah, so, Cap, Diadems was saying that, that you had a little bit of fun this evening. It was Nick Swardson? Oh, okay. All right. Well, thank you for investigating that, Civil. Yeah, Cap, I'm doing very well. Thank you. It's been an awesome evening. We just made our 5th completely random multi-classed character. And now we're compelling. We're comparing the information. We're pulling it off of the character sheet. And we're doing this to set up what we're going to be making for a campaign over tomorrow's broadcast and then next week's Wednesday through Saturday. And remember, Cap, on this coming Wednesday, that's our raffle. Cap. Yeah, I understood that you had set one off, and then you had set it off again. You had a nice 2-for-1. Yeah, not good words from a DM, right? Not my fault you didn't check for traps. Oh goodness, I love it. All right, now that we have this sort of information, what can we look for? Well, I'll tell you. What are some location prompts? What are some NPC prompts? And what are some villain prompts? Elias, Carolandra, Ibeck, Mallory, and Decay. Okay, let's just take a look. Especially at the background. Your background does so much for your character in 5th ed. You know, if you want a stable stool, it needs at least 3 legs. And the stool upon which your character sits is your race, your class, and your background. Let's see, I'll settle for nothing less than perfection. If I get bitter, I get bitter if I'm not the center of attention. He believes in tradition. The stories, legends, and songs of the past never be forgotten. He wants to be famous, whatever it takes. And despite his best efforts, he is unreliable to his friends. All right, so there's nothing directly stated here. However, what can be implied by looking at the rest of the character sheet, right? So he's deeply pious. So for a location for Elias, a large religious institution / even a library, because he is not only proficient, but he has expertise in history and religion, and he carries himself like a holy avenger of some kind, right? He's trying to pretend to be this character from history or religion. And so this is going to require something, this is going to require something. Now, by popular demand, because of his performance, he is known in various locations. So from his background, that could be an NPC, or it also could be a location. So there must be a large religious institutional library, as well as, if he's a gladiator, he performs storytelling, but he does so through a martial performance. So we might also have some kind of an arena or a large open stage or theater that could allow for him to do some stunts and deliver dialogue and so forth. If he has picked up some class levels of rogue, including how to speak their language, there could also be a thieves guild around. That being said, for an NPC, he may not have access to a criminal network as per that background, but he could be known by, or there could be a criminal NPC that knows him. So notable thief mentor, perhaps. And because he's a wizard and has studied, again, these are just indirect implications here. A wizard school, and if he has a notable thief mentor, he might also have a magic teacher that remembers him, or a classmate with whom he studied. take a look here at Carolandra. Oh, and as for a villain, I'm sorry, real quick. Any villain prompts? A villain prompt could be a figure from the past who was a villain for the character he is reliving. I ask a lot of questions. I hide scraps of food and trinkets away in my pockets. Community, we have to take care of each other because no one else is going to. No one else should have to endure the hardships I've been through, and people who can't take care of themselves get what they deserve. And she is definitely like torn between her ideal and her flaw. So for Carolandra, I think we're still getting a large religious institution at least, if not a library. We also said that she was taken in from the streets by a dwarven family. So for Carolandra, there could be a kind of a dwarven foster family. And she was an adult, but still, they were taking care of her, and probably someone who was teaching her these ways. So a religious influence as an NPC. Not just as a location. As for another location, we're talking about that there's a place that is sacred to her where her husband and child are buried. So hill with the willow tree or equivalent. And as for a villain, a villain possibly, I don't know if she has a direct one. I mean, conceptually, so if someone is preaching ignorance, we could put down ignorance as a villain, even though it's a concept. If she learns that someone set the fire, that could be a villain to her. Ooh, pardon. Oh, Diadems, hey, I'm sorry I missed that. Thank you for the gift, and hey, Captain, enjoy that bowl of guac by your name. And enjoy your emote. Now we come over to our ancient halfling. Let's look at his personality. Now, so as for a location, for sure, docks or a port of some kind. Docks or a port. And his merchant guild. As for an NPC or even possibly a villain, I mean, I don't know if a villain is someone he's jealous of. So this could be a rival salesman or scribe. Warlock, Ranger, Monk. The patron could be an NPC. You know, then again, if you give stats to Cthulhu, well, this isn't the Cthulhu one, but if you give stats to Cthulhu, you miss the whole point. So, I mean, in reference, we might be able to create some lore, but there would definitely be a... So there's a rival, but then there's probably also a friend in the guild. Maybe I can post ideas in the Discord. Oh yeah, however you'd like, Cap. It's fine. Yeah, there's a workshop channel if you want to go there. That's perfectly fine. That's exactly why it's there. NPC prompts, maybe a monk teacher. Heck, he could have even outlived them. Ooh. And I'll finish up this list. I'm gonna take a break. I'm out of drink, right? So cheers to you, Cap. Although I'm going for some orange vanilla Coke Zero. Let's take another break here real quick. Come back, get a snack or something, and we'll finish out this list. But I think you see the direction this is going, and I hope that this inspires you. Look how much we're building our world from the 5 sheets that our players have made. And yet we have an entire region, right? What we pulled above was some partial random rolling, but it was also built off of everything we've had before. And so we'll come back to this in just a little bit, but I've been talking a lot. I want to make sure I'm staying refreshed. So I'll see you soon, okay? We'll be right back.